welcome to Conversations in the Corner with Latish Corner. I'm here with my first guest ever, Mr. Anthony Wallace. And thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
So, Mr. Wallace, tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you?
Wow, you start with how old I am?
I
You said
know.
tell you a little bit about myself.
Okay,
Go,
tell
how
me a
old are
little
you?
bit about yourself.
Anthony Wallace, as you mentioned, originally from Detroit, Michigan, here in Houston, Texas. I moved here about 12 years ago. After I lived here for about 10 years, then moved to Puerto Rico. Lived in Puerto Rico for about a year and a half, then moved back here to Texas, and I'm here at the present moment. And, I work in education.
You work in education. How long have you been in education?
Oh, about 25 years.
25 years. What do you love about education?
I think I love most is sharing with youth, and I teach on a collegiate levels, but I think I like sharing with the youth, being able to watch them grow, understand what their plight is, looking at what their goals are, and trying to help them achieve them.
Perfect. And so how many children do you have?
Wow, you went from professional to personal.
And now we're going to bounce back and forth a lot.
3.
3? What are their ages?
34, 29, and 28.
And you raised all 3 of them, right?
I raised 2 of them.
You raised 2 of them.
Right.
What about the one you didn't raise? Tell me about that one.
My 34-year-old, he happened to find me on Ancestry.com. It's a long story.
Mm-hmm.
His mother had didn't know that I was the father at the time, about 35 years ago, and so her and her husband. Long story before everybody started judging me. They weren't married at the time. Raised him.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he got older, he realized some differences between himself and his siblings. And so he started looking and found that he was related to me from my biological father's side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, found myself and my family, and he's been part of the family, and loved and welcomed like the rest of them.
Perfect. And you met him in person?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
About a month ago.
How was that?
It was great.
It was
great.
great.
Yeah, it was
Does
great.
he look like you?
Yes. Everybody say look like me to the point where they say, "Oh, you don't need a DNA test."
Right.
He's definitely. I have to show you the picture.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So, do you plan on going back to Puerto Rico anytime soon?
I will go back to Puerto Rico as fast as I can. I mean, I love it. I love it there. So, everybody has a place they call home.
Right.
And although I was born and raised in Detroit, I have much love for Detroit. Yeah, Puerto Rico for me, from the first day there, felt like home. And
nice.
so the first day I went, I sat there and I said, I could do this and live like this the rest of my life. And I always laugh and joke and say, I left a little bit of me on the beach, and I told myself, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And so after 5 trips back and forth, I finally decided to make it home, and I went and stayed.
Perfect. That's exciting. So, you've been back from Puerto Rico how long? In Houston?
Just about 6 months.
And you're dating.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's going good.
It's going good. What would you say? Because you're in your 50s.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been dating in your 50s?
Oh, it's a lot different than when I was in my 20s. When you're in your 20s, you have more of a carefree way of thinking. When you get in your 50s, you're more focused on what tomorrow brings, what you bring to the table, what the other person brings to the table, what you can grow and have tomorrow. And so that's more what I'm looking at now.
So what are you looking at now? Like what does a woman need to have to catch your attention?
you can't say a personality because you can't see a personality.
Right.
But when you see a person and they smile, you smile, that's a good sign. A person that just really makes you feel like you can grow and be a better person. You know, because rather you're a man dating a woman or a woman dating a man, both people have to bring something to inspire the other person, to help them grow and become a better person.
Yeah.
And at this age, that's, you know, you need to have that partner that's going to be that partner, not someone who's just judging you or looking with their hand out.
Right.
But someone who's coming to the table to help you become a better person.
Right.
You know, we're not all perfect, but you want to grow.
You want someone that can help you grow. And do you like to travel?
I love to travel.
I travel.
I've been blessed. I've been everywhere from Canada to Puerto Rico. I want to say Jamaica, but Puerto Rico is further. So everywhere from Canada to Jamaica and from New York to California. You know, I've been all over the United States and I've been outside of the United States. I like to travel. I think that the world is a book. And if you stay in one city, it's like reading the same page of the same book, just over and over. So.
But that's really deep. So what would a woman, the attributes that a woman would need to have for you to be like, okay, you know what, I'm marrying you tomorrow?
You just take it from one topic to the next. That's a good question. Be confident in themselves.
Yeah.
And show that they are sincerely invested. You know, in this day and age, it seems like we're in a society where everybody's out to just get for themselves.
Right.
But if both people are invested, you can get further. You know, and so I think if a person is showing that they're invested, showing that they're there, and we're gonna have some bad times. Right. That's life. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days. And you gotta just stop quitting all the time.
Right.
You know,
just stop quitting all the time.
Right.
Would you say that's what's happening more now than back then? People are just kind of give up more than they used to.
You know what? I see a lot of people on social media talking about relationships, and I think, what do we know? You know, what is that person talking? And I'm not. Trust me, I'm not saying these people don't know anything about them.
Right.
Because some of the information I've heard has been valid, good, sound, information. But I look at our seniors.
Yes.
Our seniors who have been there, and they've been together for my own parents.
Right.
Been together for 50 years.
And so they're still together.
And they're still together. You know, they have molded what has been said when you say to become one. And
right.
They've become one. You know, when my dad wasn't well, my mother wasn't well. You know, when my dad is doing better, my mother's doing better. And they become one. It's so funny. Sidebar. It's so funny. I remember one day, I'm telling my mother's cooking, I'm there visiting, and my family's in Detroit. So, and my mother makes pork chops. And I'm telling her, I don't eat pork chops. And I'm telling her, I don't eat pork anymore. If I eat pork, it's like a strip of bacon. I don't eat pork. She still makes me a plate with a big pork chop on it. So she sits down. My dad is eating. I'm sitting there with my plate. She sits down eating with her plate. She reaches over, takes my dad's fork, and she starts eating. And I'm thinking, that's disgusting. You know? You just gonna take his fork, don't rinse it off, don't clean it, it just eats. But I realized the two of them have become one. You know, using his fork was nothing. Right. You know, but in our day and age, we're so quick to say, I'm leaving. The first sign of an issue, we want to leave. We'll give them 3 strikes and they're out. 3 strikes.
I can't lie, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that. You lucky if you get 3 strikes.
Right. Yeah. That's the age we live in. But there's times where we can be at work and we deal with the BS time and time again. You know, you can go to a sports team.
Yeah.
A sports team. Rather it's the Texans, the Lions, those are two of my favorites. Rather you know, they can win, lose. Look at Dallas. Come on now. Win, lose, and we still there. But when it comes to a relationship, we have 3 strikes.
Right.
And you're out of there.
Why do you think we're so quick to jump ship now?
We're in an all about me society.
Yeah.
We're in that microwave mentality. It's all about me. What can I get out of it? What can I get out of it? What if I'm not getting what I want out of it? I'm leaving.
Right.
You know, but our seniors, they were more invested in it's about us.
Right.
And they're trying to accomplish a goal together. Our society, it's just about what we want out of it. And we're so busy leaning on social media for answers.
Mm-hmm.
There's more people looking at social media for answers than it is just people sitting down having a conversation one-on-one,
Right.
discussing their own problems.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I think that's all that is so true, factual. My phone is going like crazy.
You're
I
famous.
I think that's actually because I'm at fault too. Like soon as the first red flag, I'm like, peace. So what advice would you tell someone like me who first red flag, I'm like, peace? Do you give it a little bit more time?
Don't ask me. I do the same thing. I feel like I'm out.
Why? Why do we do that?
I don't know. You know what? I think it is. We don't go back to the basics.
Yeah.
The basics is go to church, pray together, grow together spiritually.
Right.
You know, we don't lean into the word for an answers anymore. We lean into people. We call the worst people we know for relationship advice. You know, and we want to talk to them about it. You know what they think. They doing their own mess,
Yeah.
and we want to call them
Them.
for relationship. We need to just.
Why
go
do you
back.
think we call them? Do you think it's because they make us feel better about ourselves?
That's exactly what it is. We all have 2 friends.
Right.
You have that one friend that's gonna be real.
Right.
Then you have that one friend that's gonna hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the situation, you know which friend you're gonna call. You know, if something going, let me call them. You know, come on now,
Yeah.
because you don't want to be held accountable.
Right.
But when you talk to that one friend that want to be held accountable, then you talk to them, and then you be thinking like, yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah, you right. I could have
Handle it better.
handled it better.
And that's who we have a friend in common now, Kay. I'm not gonna say her name, but
Okay.
that's who Kay is for me when I need somebody to hold me accountable and not tell me what I want to hear, but tell me the real. That's who I call because I know she's gonna tell me the real. And I think we all need someone like that in our lives that holds us accountable. So now you are in Houston. You're gonna be here for a couple of more months. We're looking for our wife. How long do you feel like you need to date before you know if that's the person?
You know, I recently told somebody I don't believe in timelines. Because a person might think, oh, they're going to show you your true color the true self 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But will they? It might take
longer.
them a year.
Yeah,
right.
it might take longer.
It might take a year, it might take less. It might take I don't look at timelines. I look more like, am I seeing myself growing with this person?
Mm-hmm.
And again, you're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs, you're gonna have your breakups, you're gonna have your get back togethers. You know, the best thing about it is the experience.
Yeah.
You know, are you having memories? Are you even if you walk away from it, are
Right.
you happy? Are
Right.
you able to look back and say, you know what? We didn't make it, but that's my girl. You
yeah,
know, like,
yeah,
we did.
yeah.
Or is it like, you know, if you don't like each other anymore, or you can't speak to each other anymore, then you have to look in the mirror and say, what made it get to this point? So to answer your question, I don't have a timeline. You know, I'll just know. I'll just know, you know, my spirit will let me know and confirm and go from there.
So what do you do now to like, not necessarily look for spouses, but how are you dating? How are you, finding,
No, I'm not
navigating? You're not gonna.
I'm not dating. There's
Yeah.
always someone that we all have that we know we're committed to.
Right.
That we just know we met them and we're like, you know what? That's going to be the one I'm going to invest my time in. And that's where you need to focus that time.
And you said we all have that one.
Yeah, you should by now. When you get our age, don't even look like that.
I'm looking like that because I don't think I have that one that I'm like, okay, I'm dating and this is it.
Well, you gotta give. It's like this. I learned in church at this ministry. I don't have an example.
Mm-hmm.
The guy gave us a loaf of bread. It's a room full of men. He gave us a loaf of bread. He said, everybody take a piece of this bread.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody took a small piece of the bread.
Mm-hmm.
You took a small piece, you took a small piece, you took. To the point where it was like this much bread left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And he said, and I found this to be true in life.
Mm-hmm.
He said, now you give that to a woman. That's all of you have left. Because the rest of you have given here, you've given there, you've given there, and you want her to be happy with just this.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you have to realize she deserves the whole loaf.
Right.
So you have to get yourself together so you can present yourself as a real, as a whole.
I agree with that, but
So you got to look and see how much of yourself is just little pieces, just all over.
I'm getting little pieces though. I've yet to get a loaf.
And you're not ready. It's not.
I'm not ready.
You're not ready. Because it's not that. It's not a timeline.
Right.
It's like women are supposed to be preparing themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and men are supposed to be looking. And so, right now, just prepare yourself. Prepare yourself to be found.
And that's where I am because it seems like I'm not in a rush at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in a rush, and I found myself to be so happy dating and talking to myself that it's just it's actually more fun than
Talking to yourself?
Yeah, or entertaining somebody that I don't want to entertain because you start off. It might start off really, really pleasant, and then after a while, it's a chore.
Oh yeah.
And I have enough chores. I don't want to do any more chores. So if it's not completely organic and smooth and I know everything is not going to always be perfect, but I feel like if the beginning of it is not 75% perfect, then it's only going to go down from there. What do you think about that?
I mean, how much you want to invest in the perfection? Because nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect, but it's 75%. If we're dating and 75% of you irritate me, then it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So I feel like
agree.
75% should be very pleasant. And I can start with the 75% pleasant and the 25% irritating. And then hopefully that it goes to 80% pleasant or 85%, 15% irritating. But I don't want it to be the other way around.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. So, do you have any trips scheduled? Anything coming up?
Let's see. I'm going to Detroit, back to Detroit for my family reunion at the end of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Then in August, my sons and I are going to Puerto Rico. And we're doing a family thing, but my daughter is now pregnant, so she can't go.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Is this your first grandchild?
No.
No, how many grandchildren do you have?
8.
Wow.
So, then in August, then in September, we're going to Vegas again to celebrate my son's birthday.
Question. So, do you go by Papa, Grandpa? What do you go by?
I go by Grandpa. I say
Grandpa.
all the time, they not my friends. You don't get to
Right.
give me a nickname.
So, it's
You know,
Grandpa. I
right,
love that.
Grandpa.
So, how old are the grandkids?
It's a lot of them.
Well, 8 is a lot. What's the oldest to the youngest? Do we know?
16 to
16.
3? No. My youngest is 2.
No, but you have a 16-year-old grandchild.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's 14. Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's your son's child or your daughter?
My oldest sons.
That's amazing. Congratulations. You do not look like you have a 16-year-old grandchild. Yes, the skin is popping. Wow, that's really amazing. So what do you like to do for fun? Like, other than opera?
You said other than the opera. You know, I'm real versatile. If we're just sitting around talking, I'm comfortable. If we're playing cards, I'm comfortable. If we're playing spades, I'm comfortable. Dominoes, you know, we're playing with bones. I'm good. I love live theater. So rather it's theater, ballet, opera, rather it's going to see live comedy. I'm a real big fan of live comedy. And I don't need to go see Kevin Hart. I like Kevin Hart.
Right.
Don't get it wrong. It's not that I don't like it, but I could go see a local comedian. You know, it's all about laughing and enjoying life.
Yes.
And I prefer that. So it's the simple things.
Right.
You know, I don't have to travel. I don't have to go to the club and rent a booth and buy a bottle and get the hookah and all. I don't have to do all that. You know, those days are behind me. You know, now at my age, I'm more about living, experiencing something, making memories. You know, I don't care if I had a date and we went and paddle boat, you know, at the Miller Outdoor Theater or at the, what is it theater? The theater's in Herman Park. Herman Park. You know, it's the simple things. You know, but I like and I believe in making memories.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I can sit at home and relax too.
I had a question for you, and I completely forgot. I wanted to ask you about. I hate that I forgot because it was a good question.
Oh,
I think it was about. Now I cannot remember, but forget it. It'll come back to me before we're done, if it's possible. But I'm proud of you, black man. Yeah, you're very successful. That's what I was gonna ask you. So you have a theater coming up with the senior citizens that you were telling me about?
So I've written 18 plays.
Whoa.
18 plays. I've produced 13 of them. Most of them I produced in Detroit. So now we're doing what we call a senior series, where we're doing plays that is focused on the senior population. The reason being is because the senior population, a lot of times we overlook them. You know, they're in a nursing home or they're living alone or they're doing whatever, and we just, you know,
don't think about it.
But from a psychological perspective, they need that stimulation to keep them sharp, keep them attentive, keep them, you know, thriving. And so we're doing what we call a senior series, which we do a play in the middle to the early evenings. For the seniors, it is free to get in, and we do accept sponsorship. You know, if somebody wants to sponsor.
Where do they send the money?
Well, they can look on our website. We have a website called throughpeace.com.
Okay.
Where they can go on there. There's various projects that we do. So you would have to look for the senior, but and so the seniors can come in for free and watch a play, which is designed to entertain our senior population.
Perfect. Well, that's great that you're giving back to the community and helping out with the seniors. What else are you passionate about?
Wow. I'm passionate about, and it's probably too deep right now.
It's
probably too deep. I'm passionate about God. I'm compassionate about my fraternity. I'm compassionate about black people. Some people don't understand, but I am my thing with us is sometimes I feel like we need to be more accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I agree. We've been through some
Shit.
We've been through it.
Right.
But at some point, we need to look at our actions and look at how we behave and support one another.
Right.
You know, just like I come to you for your business, we need to look at how we support one another
Right.
and what we do to help us grow as a society instead of spending so much time focusing on what somebody else didn't do for us.
Right.
You know, because if they didn't do it then, they're not going to do it now.
Right.
So time to stop crying about that and do for one another.
Right.
You know, will people be mad that I said that? People are going to be mad.
Right.
People are going to call me out my name and they're going to send me these nasty messages and tell me, you know, all kind of things. But that's just how I feel. You know, I also look at like my biological father wasn't in my home.
Mm-hmm.
What I learned from my biological father was not to be like my biological
Right.
father, who was not there.
Right.
He died in my 30s. I paid to bury him, you know, and I didn't even know the man, you know. But what I learned from him is not to be like him.
Right.
So with my kids, we have a very close relationship. You know, I was there for them growing up. And I, to this day, still talk to them every day. I told them I'd be here with you before I even, you know, started recording anything. And I think as black men, we need to stop using the "my dad wasn't there for
Right.
me" and start realizing, look, my dad wasn't there for me. So instead of putting my child through what I went through, I'm going to do something different and be there for my child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would help us, you know. There's a lot missing. There's a lot missing. And some people don't take it serious. We're too busy twerking and having a good time and making jokes and wanting to prove that we hard. But we need to really look at ourselves.
Look at ourselves and do better.
And do better. Yeah,
Because I really do believe us as black people are really magical. And that we can really just do whatever we want to, whenever we want to. It's just work ethic. You gotta just do it, and you gotta do it. One thing I learned about me young is that I suck at typically everything that I start. Like, I don't think it's anything that I like started it and I was good at it immediately. But that's what I love about me, because I know if I do it 107 times, the 108th time it's gonna be perfect. And so I know now not to ever give up on something that I really want to do, because eventually I'm going to get perfect.
And if you notice, this is the interesting part.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else knows how perfect we are.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is they tan to look like us. They listen to our music. And I'm not just talking about white people, but I mean
Everybody.
Every other nationality tries to mimic
What we do.
what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Rather it's the dance, it's the way we talk, it's the swag and the way we walk.
Right.
It's us. They try to mimic what we do. But then we want to be accepted by them.
Right.
We're so busy fighting to be accepted by somebody else instead of us just building ourselves together and just getting to the next level one another. But they all want to be us. And we all
Want to be
wanna
somebody
them.
else.
Thank you. We all
Which
wanna
is
be somebody
really, but I luckily for me, I've never wanted to be anybody else other than me. I think God taught me that, like, even the most beautiful people, the most rich people in the world have the biggest problems. Like, one person that I love and admire so much on so many different levels, Janet Jackson,
Mhm.
right? Janet Jackson still got cheated on. Janet Jackson still has problems.
Yeah.
So why would I want to be anybody else other than me? Because
Yeah.
you can be Janet Jackson and still have problems. You can still be Beyonce and have problems.
Right.
So I'd rather be Latish and keep my minimal little problems that I have. Because my problems are little. Very little compared to everybody else's. So I'm very grateful for the problems that I have. So, well, this has been wonderful talking to you. I knew it would be, because you are full of knowledge and just all kinds of positive energy, and I love that about you.
Thank
So,
you.
what should we tell your future wife? What what should she be aware of?
Oh, I got a lot of shortcomings.
Give us like your top 3.
Of my shortcomings?
Yeah, so she can be already prepared.
I have a very small tolerance for BS. I mean, like, yeah, if that much.
That much.
Yeah, it's that much for the tolerance for BS. Wow, that's the major one because it comes in, it kicks in like every day.
Mm-hmm.
That and the fact that I'm not perfect and I know it and I've accepted it. So to me, to any woman, to anybody in any relationship, if you think somebody's perfect or if you're expecting perfection, you better go back to church. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So you have to accept people where they are. So if I smoke a cigar, I never lied and said, "Oh, I'm perfect." I would never. Yeah, I might. I might. So yeah. So I would say I'm not perfect, and I know it, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with not being perfect.
Right.
But if you need a gentleman, I'm there. If you need a support, I'm there. If you need a shoulder to cry on, I'm there. If you need somebody that's going to pick you up when you're down, I'm there. If you need somebody if you need to just come and hide out, I'm there. But if you expect me to be perfect, you expecting too much. My name is Anthony. It's not Jesus. It's not Allah. It's not God. I'm not. That's not me. And then the next one, I'm kind of shallow.
At least you know it though. A lot of people don't know.
I'm kind of shallow, man.
What do you mean by shallow? Give me an example.
I don't want to have to tell you how to dress. If I say we're going to the ballet, if I say we're going on a date, if I have to tell you what to wear, it's going to be an issue. If you don't know what a mimosa is, it's going to be an issue. If you don't know that if the show starts at 8 and it takes 45 minutes to get there, I don't have time for you to be walking out the door at 7:30. It starts at 8, So in that case, yeah, I'm kind of shallow. Like I went and
I don't think that's necessarily shallow. Shallow for me means like she don't get her nails done, her feet ashy.
That too.
She gotta like
look, I was being modest, but that too is important.
I feel like you walking out at 7:30 and the play starts at 8 is just you're inconsiderate.
Well now, and people will be mad if they heard me say this out loud.
Right.
A lot of women are late. But I tell you this, it's by choice. And they can say, no, you don't understand. You're not a woman. We got to get... But let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
If your grandmother told you dinner start at 6, don't be late, you're going to be on time.
Some women.
You're going to be on time. Because grandma said 6, don't be late.
Right.
She ain't hearing that. She's not accepting. And because of your respect for your grandmother, you will be there.
On time.
But if I, as a man, told you, baby, the thing start at 6, and you still in there like,
I don't think that's necessarily. I think that's just a character issue. I don't think that has anything to do with who told her. I think it all goes back to character, because for me, I'm real big on time because that's not something I can get back.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you take $20 from me, I can go make $20. If I wait 20 minutes from you, I can't go get my 20 minutes back. So I think that goes back to a character issue. Some people don't have the character or the integrity. They don't think about other people's time.
True, I agree. But when it comes to that grandmother, when it comes to them people that you respect, even if it comes to your job, if your job tells you, if you're late one more time,
I just don't think. I think some people just lack character and lack integrity. I think
It
if your
is.
grandma, your grandpa, I think God could tell you, look, you need to be at this door 15 minutes early, and they just will not be on time because they just lack respect for people's time.
That's a different level.
Yeah,
That's a different
it's a
level.
lot of people out there that
That's a
just
different
lack
level.
respect for people's time.
Yeah, that's a different level. I'll give you an example. And I used to say this when I taught in public schools. You could walk into a room in the dark knowing that your grandmother is sleeping, and you can stomp your toe, and you just suck it up. God, just suck it up. Suck up the pain. Because you don't want to wake up grandma.
Right.
But if nobody was in the room and you stomped your toe, it's who put this dang thing? And then we say, I couldn't control it. It was the pain. We can control it depending on the stimuli.
Right.
Whatever stimulates you, you can respond. Your brain works so fast that you can respond to something, but it depends on what is the stimuli in the environment.
Right.
Even take your grandmother out the room. Take your grandmother out. You just had a baby. And you spent the whole day putting the baby to sleep. Oh my God, it took you hours to put this baby to sleep. You stump your toe.
You ain't saying nothing.
You ain't saying a damn thing. You ain't saying nothing. You're going to be like, oh, it could be bleeding. You could be sitting up there. And you'll pour alcohol on it and won't say a damn. You'll suck it up.
Yeah, right.
But if nobody was in that room, if the baby was, and you stumped and you broke that, and you're cussing, you're yelling. And so when it comes to being late, when it comes to the respect that you give each other, it is a mental thing. It is what you decide you want to do.
Exactly.
Do you respect that person enough to reach out, to say something, to talk to be on time, to be respectful? It's just like a man. If a man is abusive to his girlfriend, but he never wants his mother to find out. Why? Why don't you want your mother to know that you hit your girlfriend? Because the respect that he has for his mother is different than the respect he has for his girlfriend. That's why they always say, watch how a man treats his mother. Because if he's not treating you with the same respect he treats his mother, he has no respect for you.
Right.
It's not about, I'm just not that type of. Yes,
Right.
you are. Yes, you are. You can control it if you choose to control
Right.
it. A lot of times we get mad about things outside our circle of influence. Our circle of influence is just that space.
Right.
That little space you're taking right now is your circle of influence. So no matter what I say or do, nothing you do can control what I say or do. So it doesn't make sense to be mad at me.
Right.
The only thing you can control is your circle of influence. What that means is you can control how you handle what I said.
Right.
You don't have to be mad about something I
Yeah.
said. You might blow it off and be like,
He
you
ain't
don't
talking
know me.
about nothing.
Right.
Right.
But if you get mad, you're mad. You're mad about this. You're mad about that. You're mad. But when you think about it, you're mad about a lot of stuff that ain't got a damn thing. You can't do nothing about
Right.
it. So what you mad about?
Right.
Shut up and relax. Enjoy your life.
Just relax
You
and
got-
enjoy life.
I should have asked you if you had a coin before now.
I do.
You do? Let me give me a coin. Let me show you something.
I think I do have a coin in my fanny pack. Look at me having a quarter.
All right. Quarter is perfect. Now, what I want you to do, I want you to cover one eye,
I'm trying to cover my bad eye.
take the quarter, hold it out. Now tell me, what do you see?
A quarter.
Tell me everything you see.
Liberty.
Nope. Tell me everything you see.
George Washington.
Do you see my hand?
Oh, yeah. Now I see
What
it.
else do you see?
I see my cleaner solution, my peppermint oil, my rosemary oil, my tea tree oil, my
Okay.
shade.
Now, hold the quarter closer. What do you see?
A quarter, Liberty, George Washington, 1931, I think.
Okay. What else do you see?
Nothing.
Yes, you do.
Your
What else do you see?
hand, the painting, the brick wall. That's if I look around, though.
But look at it and tell me, what do you see? You still can see other things.
Yeah, if I look for the other thing.
But you can still see other things.
Yeah.
Now, what do you see?
The quarter.
Can you see anything else?
No.
The quarter represents the bad things,
Mm-hmm.
the problems, the things that bother us,
Yeah.
the negative things. If you focus solely on the negative, after a while, all you see
Is the negative.
is the negative. But before that, you could see everything else.
Right.
The negative only was as big as this quarter.
Right.
But we let the negative take over. And we go from this
To that. Yeah, get my quarter back. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for driving this way and just.
Did somebody owe me gas?
I do owe you some gas. We gonna
I'm just
valet it for you or something. We'll figure that out. But I really appreciate you. This has been very, very. What's the word I'm looking for? Not interesting, but fulfilling. It's been very fulfilling, and I appreciate it. I got more out of it than I was expecting to. The quarter thing, I'm definitely going to use in the future. So I appreciate you, and we'll have to do this again. You know what? I'm going to come down your way next time and do it on the beach.
sounds good.
Hopefully it won't be too noisy. So do you have an Instagram or anything where people can follow you, or do you want to
No.
stay more private? I
No.
agree, because sometimes people can become stalkerish.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wallace, and we will see him next time, maybe in a couple of months, maybe 6 months. We'll do a podcast in Puerto Rico. That'll be my excuse to come to Puerto Rico. You think you're going to be there for like 2 months? You'll be there in 2 months?
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. All right. Thank you guys for joining me at Conversations in the Corner. This is Latish, and I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye.